Most technical founders don't fail at hiring because they can't find talent. They fail because they hire the wrong type of developer. And trust me, I tapped into the same mistake myself. I'll show you the exact system to use to hire your first developer, so you don't get stuck with the 80% finished work and constant hand-holding. We'll cover what to look for and what to avoid, and the one question that instantly reveals if they can ship end-to-end. Usually, when a technical person hires their first developer, the main thing they do wrong is that they have too high expectations. They're trying to find someone like them, fulfilling all the same things, because at one point they were curious about something and they wanted to learn a certain technology. Now, as they did that and they feel good with that, for them it looks easy, and they want the developer to be able to do the same things. And they tend to forget all the struggle that they went through in order to learn those things. So what happens is they'd have these huge expectations, and then every developer coming in will not be able to fulfill these expectations. So the technical person hiring the first developer is now in this weird middle ground where they have someone who is not as good as them, and then they don't know exactly what to do. They sometimes take jobs from them, just take stuff over, and then the developer doesn't have the tools in order to become the full stack person that they actually should be, or they just abandon them and hope they do stuff, and then they check in a month later and things hasn't happened as they expected to. So this is, like, I would say, the big fallacy of a smart CTO who is a good developer and hires their first technical help. People like to surround themselves with people like them, and of course that's a problem. Because if they're a business owner, then they might not even want someone exactly like them, right? For example, in my case, if I would now hire developers just like me, yeah, I would find pretty good developers, but they would be also quite distracted and they would always start new things and always bring things to 80%. It's good enough. I'm going to delegate the rest. And I should find someone who's exactly the opposite, someone who likes to take something over that already kind of works and make it better and make it stable and stick to it for a long time. Also smart, of course, but then able to optimize and refine and scale. If you hire someone who's like you will find someone with the same blind spots. That's usually not how teams work. Teams work well when there's diversity, when people think in a different way, and where they can complement each other. On the other end of the spectrum, there is the helper hire. So that's also what people do quite a lot. They would find someone who's just a helper, just fixing one task. Now, the problem with that is that someone who's doing a certain task, they would need all the context and they need to have the work specified for them. That was potentially good in some kind of virtual assistant role maybe 5 or 10 years ago. But nowadays, AI is getting so good that the specification takes up the most space and most time. And the actual execution is much simpler and takes less time. So the value of just a helper is going down and down and down. And I would say in a year from now, the helper role is probably not significant anymore. To specify and then manage and then also find them in the first place, pay them, and then more people is always more communication. And so these things would then rather slow down the project. This is why, ideally, any kind of entrepreneur who's hiring technical people, they need someone in the middle ground who's a functional leader, who's able to take a problem and work through it all the way, make the specification, figure out what are the success factors for this, figure out the user experience, the UI, figure out all the edge cases, and then run a couple of AI agents to fulfill it. And this kind of functional leader, that's very hard to find, but this is exactly what entrepreneurs need. And they don't need someone like them. They don't need someone who's just a helper doing very small things. They need someone in the middle ground. Once I understood this, I was much better in hiring. And I think now we actually have people in our team who are able to do that. So the main hiring problem is actually not knowing who you want to hire. If you're hiring developers right now, how about you subscribe to my channel and like this video? I got more content coming up that will help you build your next SaaS projects faster. So this is the entrepreneur, right? Or CTO. This person would probably err into finding someone like them, or finding someone here who is just like a helper. Of course, the problem is you need someone in between who's here and who's able to cover all these bases here. So who's covering the middle ground here. So this is the functional leader who's doing this, and this is basically an AI. What you actually want is this technical leader kind of person. Let me just draw this person. This is the functional leader here. So this functional leader is able to execute basically everything here. As the entrepreneur, you probably figured out all the things that you do on the customer side. So here, entrepreneur, you would still keep doing the business strategy, customer support, marketing, sales. And what you just need to do is someone who is able to solve the problem for you. And this is the functional leader. The dream team is basically this. You will cover everything. You cover these leadership things, and then you also cover the execution of it on the technical side. If you are going here, you won't cover all these problems here. and you end up doing the whole thing yourself. Or if you're just hiring the helper, you only cover the small basis and you're not covering this middle ground. So the middle ground is actually where the magic happens. And this is why you need to find this person in the middle. Let's just go through cases, right? Case 1, hiring someone like myself. So just imagine you have 2 people here. So this first person here gives direction, tries things out, makes MVPs, gets things to 80%. If you hire someone like yourself, you basically end up with 2 people doing that. Every solution that you're building is basically, if that's 100% of your solution, you're very well off with the first 80%, but it's going to stagnate here. You won't get this over the finish ground because you will have 2 people who are always working on this concept phase, on this strategy, on this what could be. This is not what would help an entrepreneur. What actually helps an entrepreneur is someone who can bring it to the completion, and that's a functional leader. Let's look at the other case. Problem 2, hire a helper. So if you're just hiring a helper, basically what's going to happen, it's all going to be yourself. And then the helper needs more time to manage. You will have time that goes into management here. And you think you're productive because they're all working, but in the end, you're using too much time specifying things for them, managing them, hiring them, and then also firing them. So basically, this is an inefficient system and this usually doesn't work. People try that and they have a great VA, but they never learn how to use them, how to work correctly. Usually that's a hiring mistake and those things don't work and those people usually get let go again. So what you actually want is the dream team of you are the leader. So in this case, in the perfect setup, you have someone who's a functional leader. And this person is able to bring whatever ideas you have to completion. You get it to 80%, you make the MVP. Let's say this is the MVP or idea or strategy. And then this person takes over and brings it to 100%. Figuring out that you need this kind of person took me some time because these people are not thinking like me. It's harder for me to spot them. But you know when you find them, you know that it feels good when they do things that you maybe not agree with, but they're the right thing that the business needs. They might take a step back and say, well, let's first get it right, and then we build the next thing. Well, you're already thinking about building version 2, 3, 4, 5. And this person says, let's just get this thing done really well, see what the customers want, and then we build the next version. This is for me as a creative leader, it's always hard to accept that, but I know it's the right thing. That's why I have those people in my business, because they know how to make something solid and not do more of the right thing and not do more things that feel right. And if you want to know how to onboard developers and especially the crucial first 4 weeks, watch this video where we go in depth into this topic.